Plays 30th at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. With the latest on the Dolphins-Jaguars matchup, we welcome in Richard Graves, coming to us live from London, England, to sort of go over what's going on. How are you, Richard?
Good afternoon. First of all, Kate, from London. I'm very well. We're looking forward to this weekend's matchup. You've got two teams desperately in need of a win, and one of them's got to win, right? In those 29 previous encounters you referred to, there's only ever been one tie. So we're hoping that we're going to have a winner at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday. As for the Miami Dolphins, well, of course, all eyes for them are on their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. He's missed the last 3 games with fractured ribs. He was designated to return from IR earlier this week, and he's come through 2 straight practices. But Coach Flores did admit earlier this week that they won't know for sure what condition he's in until he's completed the flight over here. It's a long flight, of course. They'll need to see how he's come through that. And then, of course, he hasn't taken a hit. They won't know how he reacts to that until that actually happens in a game. As for the Jacksonville Jaguars, well, things don't get any better for them. Veteran linebacker Miles Jack hasn't made the trip. He's suffering from a back ailment. Rashad Coward has also stayed over there in Jacksonville as well. And we heard earlier this week that quarterback Trevor Lawrence, he's only been out of the country once before, and that was on honeymoon. This is his first ever trip over to Europe and the UK, so it'll be a brand new experience for him on Sunday as well.
Do you think there'll be much more Jags fans than Dolphins fans, since the Jags have obviously played there a lot more? What's the Jags fan base like out there in London?
It's a growing fan base, Kate. To be honest, the organisation has invested a lot of time and effort and money into the local communities around here and growing that fan base and support. And obviously their owner, Shad Khan, is the owner of Fulham Football Club as well. So they have a high profile. But make no mistake, the Miami Dolphins are a popular organisation in this part of the world as well. You'll see a lot of Dolphins jerseys, notably with Dan Marino's name on the back. He's a living legend for most of their fans, not only in the US, but over here in the UK as well. It should be an interesting atmosphere for sure on Sunday.
Dolphins up against the Jaguars. That one kicks off at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Some morning football on Sunday in Week 6. Richard Graves will talk to you throughout the show. Appreciate you. Excellent work here on Good Morning Football. Good afternoon where you are, and we'll check in with you in a bit. Week 6 is here, guys. We have highlights from last night. Eagles couldn't complete the comeback against the Buccaneers. The defending champs won, but there's a lot to look forward to on Sunday. There's 60 seconds on the clock. You guys shared that minute to tell me the most important things you want to see. The Florida teams are in London. You just heard from Richard Graves, Dolphins, Jags. What are you guys looking at?
First, I want to shout out Richard for the pronunciation of Tua Tagovailoa. It took me about 6 months. He got it in his first shot this morning. I am proud of him for that, and really good report, too, because I think that flight is important with Tua. Like, he's on this 8-hour flight. He lands, and if his ribs aren't where they want them to be, they've got other quarterbacks, and they might want to say, hey, let's not push it for this week against the Jaguars, where we can maybe win without Tua out there. I think the Tua factor is huge, but this team, it is now or never for the Dolphins.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is now for never. This is a team that won 10 games last year, and we expected them to be a lot better. Not having Tua out there has been a big loss, but I'm excited to see Trevor Lawrence, the young quarterback, continue his progression, continue growing, continue making plays. I can't wait.
Gardner Minshew beat the Phillip Rivers Indianapolis Colts, and that's the last time that the Jaguars won. They've lost 20 straight. Week 1, it was Minshew over Rivers in their last one. Enough. Urban Meyer was through the news cycle and is now not being talked about because of another coach, and I really think they could get a win in London. And when they do, I hope Urban Meyer doesn't stay over there with the team goes home.
Ooh, there's that. Rookie quarterbacks combined 0-5. Rookie quarterbacks not very successful in London. Just one touchdown pass among them all time. Maybe Trevor Lawrence turns that around up against Tua Tagovailoa. Now, Washington hosts the Chiefs. This one in Kansas City. What are we looking for here? D'Angelo, go.
Oh, this is the bad defense bowl right here. I mean, you talk about Kansas City's defense, and then you talk about Washington's defense. But it's going to be a lot of points, Kay. You write fantasy points all day. Taylor Heineke, deep ball. Then you got Patrick Mahomes, deep ball. I'm just watching offensive explosion. I told you, nobody plays defense anymore. So.
All right. Well, you want an explosion?
I'm here for it.
How about the explosion if the Kansas City Chiefs lose this game?
Oh.
Then we have to start asking, are the Chiefs going to get a wild card? Are they going to make the playoffs? It's totally fair. They do not get exception. Eventually, you have to win, especially on this kind of trip against this kind of team that's struggling. Chiefs lose this game is nuclear.
Yeah, you know, yes.
Nuclear.
And I hear you. And yesterday we talked about Sean Taylor's jersey being retired and hung to the rafters. And in our show, immediately it was like, that's amazing news. the response online and from a lot of people around the league were like,
not great.
That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Like, how could you on 3 days' notice you're going to say this to cover up whatever else is going on in the news? Jason Wright, the team president, came out and he said, hey, no, this has been a long time. We're working on it. Maybe the news was delivered the wrong way. But this is something that's been planning since the offseason. Both he and Bobby Mitchell are going to get their jerseys retired. I just want everyone to appreciate Sean Taylor this weekend because defense might not be a premium in this one, D'Angelo.
It's well said. At GMFB with your thoughts, keeping it all the way real. The Chiefs 9-1 all-time, guys, against Washington. Their last win in the matchup came in 1983 during friend of the show, Joe Theismann's MVP season. Long time ago since Washington had success against the Chiefs. Now let's go to Soldier Field. It's an NFC North showdown between the Packers and the Bears. What are we looking for in this one? Edie, Meanie, Miney, Kyle.
Number one for the Bears. The first time he was ever mic'd up at a practice, someone mentioned to him something about the Packers when assistant coach goes, ooh, Green Bay, we don't talk about them around here. He gets it. This guy has been on Ohio State. He understands a rivalry. He understands what time it is. We've seen a lot of Bears quarterbacks who understand what time it is. Trubisky understood it. A lot of guys, I don't know if Cutler did, but a lot of guys have. It's one thing to understand it's a rivalry and see number 12 in green. It's another thing to beat him. Justin Fields, have a day. Matt Nagy, for God's sake, let him have a day.
Khalil Herbert is the running back that I'll be looking for. This is a cool story. Went to Kansas, never really had a career there. His last year, he's like, I'm going to go in the transfer portal. Goes to Virginia Tech, where he has a 1,700-yard season, gets drafted in the 6th round, and now it's Bears-Packers, and it's like Khalil Herbert might be the guy that makes the difference, and finally the Bears getting over the hump with the Packers.
Yeah, and my eyes are all over Justin Fields. And not only Justin Fields, but Matt Nagy. I want him to be creative, make things easy for Justin Fields. And Justin, understand that you don't have to make every single play out there. Trust the guys around you. Don't be forcing balls into coverage, because that's a secondary and some safeties that can go get the football.
Sure.
Packers lead the all-time series 100-94. There are 6 ties in there. And over the last 6 or 7, there have been a lot of one-score games, a lot of close situations, so it could go either way in Chicago on Sunday. Finally, the Chargers trek to Baltimore to face off against the Ravens. What are you looking for, Shrakes, in this one?
These have been the 2 most exciting teams in the league, I think. Honestly, their games are crazy games that always end up in the final minute. Like, who's going to come out with this one? The Chargers, as a team, have 59 points in the 4th quarter alone this season. The Ravens, they have these miraculous victories. This is one of those, you put the game on, you sit back, don't root for either team if you're neutral, just enjoy the football. Both quarterbacks having breakout years yet again.
Brandon Staley having a breakout year, too. He won the week this week with his press conference, remarks about John Gruden and everything. But he's not a motivational speaker. He is not a politician. He's a football coach. And he's a defensive-minded football coach who just saw his team get absolutely run through when Cleveland wanted to snap their fingers. I need to see some defense from the Brandon Staley Chargers. I like the way he speaks and I like him as a guy. Let's play some D.
Yeah, and I'm loving these 2 quarterbacks, too, just like you said. I mean, when you think about the way Justin Herbert's been playing the quarterback position so far, as young as he is, the way that you feel like, wow, he gets it, he understands it, the growth we've been seeing in Lamar Jackson all this season, this is going to be some dynamic quarterback play. 2 guys that do it totally different, but it still gets done.
Lamar Jackson, 8-0, undefeated, guys, in the month of October in his career. He's never lost in October. 2 of my favorite defensive players will be on the field as well.